My name is Sydney, and I'm 34 years old. My mother decided I would babysit 5 children during Christmas. She never asked for my opinion, she simply declared it as if the matter was already settled. As though my schedule, my intentions, and my mental peace were mere tasks she could tick off her festive to-do list without a second thought. Everything began during a family video conference in the first week of December. One of those mandatory holiday organizing sessions where people force smiles while quietly bracing for whatever demand comes next. I just made myself a cup of coffee and was still wearing pajamas when my mother cleared her throat and announced, "So, Sydney is going to remain at home and look after the children this Christmas." At first, I actually chuckled because the idea seemed absurd. 5 little ones, my sister's 3, all younger than 7, plus my cousin's twin toddlers who viewed quiet moments as something to destroy. "Excuse me?" I replied, convinced I'd heard wrong. My mother didn't hesitate. She gave that strange smile she reserves for moments when she believes she's being kind. "It will benefit you. You don't have children yourself, and the others truly need some rest." In that instant, something inside me broke. Not with shouting or theatrics. Just a silent, icy understanding that this wasn't a mix-up. This was a deliberate arrangement. An arrangement created behind my back, expecting me to comply as I always had. Babysitting on Christmas Eve. Babysitting on Christmas Day. Sleepless nights, dawn wake-ups. Meltdowns, nappies, total disorder, while the rest enjoyed meals, sipped drinks, shared jokes, and labeled it quality family bonding. I pointed out quietly that I'd already taken leave from work and made personal arrangements. My mother dismissed it with a wave. "You can unwind afterward. Family must come before everything." Those words struck me hard. Family must come before everything. Except when it involves honoring my needs. Except when it involves honoring my limits. Except when it involves requesting rather than commanding. During the following week, the texts continued arriving. My sister sent cheerful messages saying, "You're a total hero." My aunt teased that I'd end up worn out yet somehow satisfied. Nobody inquired whether I consented. They all acted as though the decision was final and binding. I began having trouble sleeping, waking with a heavy sensation in my chest. Reliving past holidays I'd sacrificed simply to lend a hand. I pictured myself at 26. Skipping a New Year's getaway because I was required. At 30, left tidying after children while others raised glasses in celebration. Then, 3 days prior to Christmas, the ultimate confirmation arrived. A message in the family chat. My mother wrote, "Children will arrive at Sydney's house Christmas Eve morning. Appreciate it." That was all. No question. No space for discussion. I gazed at my screen for ages. My hands trembled, not from anxiety, but from a fury so intense it finally sliced through decades of remorse. That evening, I took an action I'd never taken in my life. I launched my laptop, visited an airline site, and looked up the earliest flight leaving town on Christmas Eve. I didn't hesitate or second guess. I contacted no one. I offered no justification. I purchased the ticket. One-way, morning departure, seat by the window. The instant the booking confirmation arrived, a weight lifted from me that hadn't eased in years. On Christmas Eve, while my mother was likely preparing treats and tagging the children's belongings, I was stepping onto an aircraft. I recall clutching my boarding pass, pulse racing not with remorse, but with an odd, fresh thrill. As the plane lifted off, my phone erupted with notifications. Calls missed. Texts stacking endlessly. I ignored them all. For the first time, I embraced quiet. A few hours later, I arrived, checked into a modest hotel, and requested room service. I sat on the bed, gazing at the peaceful walls, and burst into laughter. No shrieks. No tears. No shame. Only myself. I believed that would conclude the matter. A discreet getaway. A serene Christmas free from being undervalued. I was mistaken. That same evening, my aunt initiated a family video call. Someone included me without permission. I picked up before I could think better of it. The display filled with familiar faces. My mother. My sister. My cousin. The children fidgeting in the background. My mother appeared enraged. "Where exactly are you?" she demanded. "I'm away," I answered. I mentioned I had arrangements. Then my aunt, holding her device too near her face, remarked, "Since we're gathered, I should go ahead and share this." She lifted a sheet of paper. My stomach sank. I knew it immediately. A message from my grandmother sent some weeks earlier, requesting my aunt to share it with everyone on Christmas if she couldn't be present. Silence fell over the room as my aunt started reading aloud. Partway through, my sister's grin vanished. My mother's complexion drained of color. Someone inhaled sharply. Another murmured, "What?" My aunt's tone wavered as she went on, her gaze shifting from the page to the camera. When she reached the end, everyone stared as though the ground had vanished beneath their feet. My mother parted her lips, then shut them. My cousin muttered a curse. One child began to wail, puzzled by the heavy atmosphere. All that ran through my mind was how the words my aunt shared during that family video call caused every single person to gasp. I heard my sister utter, "This isn't possible." My mother finally breathed, "What?" "This isn't possible." I remained on that hotel bed, far away, understanding that catching that flight wasn't merely an exit. It marked the beginning of something far larger, and none of them had anticipated it. The screen lingered motionless for several seconds after my aunt concluded, as if the connection itself required a moment to absorb the revelation. My mother regained composure first, her expression rigid, mouth clamped so tightly her lips nearly vanished. "That letter is old," she stated swiftly, far too swiftly. "Grandma was upset when she wrote it." But my aunt disagreed. "It's dated from last month," she countered. "And it's officially notarized." What she'd recited, what prompted the collective gasp, was my grandmother's detailed account of her will and the reasoning for it. She'd expressed it directly and with sorrow, describing how she'd observed my treatment over the years, how I'd constantly been required to give up my own needs, how I'd been called self-reliant only when it suited others. She explained that she'd discreetly supported me with funds, placed investments under my name, and safeguarded them legally from family claims. Then arrived the statement that altered everything. She'd assigned full authority over a trust to me exclusively, effective right away, and designated me as the administrator of certain family holdings following her death. My sister stuttered, "That's unjust." My cousin insisted on knowing why no one had informed her. My mother finally erupted, "Sydney influenced her." That charge once frightened me deeply. Now it had no effect. I inhaled slowly and responded evenly, "I had no idea about the letter until this very moment." Quiet returned. The children were quickly removed from view, aware something grave had been exposed. My aunt straightened her spectacles and continued, "There's additional detail." She clarified that the trust contained precise stipulations. Any relative who attempted to coerce, intimidate, or humiliate me publicly would immediately lose eligibility for forthcoming financial benefits linked to joint properties. The irony felt almost literary. The very individuals who believed they could force me into supervising 5 children across Christmas had now excluded themselves by precisely that behavior. My mother's cheeks flushed. "So now you believe you're superior to everyone?" she asked. I kept my tone steady. I didn't grin. I simply stated reality. No. I simply refused to be regarded as unpaid help any longer. That was when my sister unraveled. She blamed me for destroying the holiday. She claimed I'd deserted the family. She called me self-centered for choosing a flight over helping. And for the first time ever, I refused to justify myself. I refused to clarify. I refused to say sorry. I allowed her accusations to drift there, bare and vulnerable. My aunt eventually stepped in, murmuring softly, "This situation didn't begin today. It merely concluded today." My mother terminated the call suddenly. Just like that. Empty screen. No farewell. I looked at my device, anticipating the usual surge of remorse. It never arrived. In its place came release. Profound, calm, and absolute. I ordered something sweet, switched on the television, and passed Christmas Eve precisely as I desired, undisturbed. The consequences arrived gradually. Texts filtered in across the following days. Some hostile, some artificially polite, some unexpectedly courteous. My mother remained silent toward me for weeks. My sister attempted contact once, probing gently by inquiring if I could offer a bit of monetary assistance since I seemed comfortable. I declined, and it was the simplest refusal I'd ever given. Here's something rarely mentioned. Establishing limits doesn't feel empowering initially. It feels isolating. It feels like lingering in the chill after shutting a door you'd been conditioned to leave ajar. Yet gradually, that chill transforms into sharpness of vision. I began counseling. I explored more places. I ceased justifying my decisions to those who'd never truly heard me. Months afterward, my aunt came to see me. She confessed she'd felt afraid to voice the letter aloud, yet recognized it was necessary. They required hearing it, she told me. And you required departing. She spoke truthfully. So on Christmas Eve, I stepped aboard that aircraft, and by doing so, I at last selected my own path. Now, reflecting on that instant, my mother presuming I'd surrender once more, my relatives stunned into stillness with the phrases, "What? This isn't possible," resonating across the video call. I feel no bitterness. I feel appreciation. Appreciation for heeding that soft inner prompting. Appreciation for refusing to remain. If you've ever been regarded as though your hours hold no value, as though your limits are negotiable, as though your importance depends on what you relinquish, this account is meant for you. Sometimes the most courageous choice isn't remaining to repair at all. Sometimes it's departing, even when that means traveling solo on a plane during Christmas Eve.
Craving shocking revenge, chilling horror, and jaw-dropping relationship drama? If you love revenge, horror, and jaw-dropping relationship stories straight from Reddit, make sure to like this video, subscribe to reddittalestime, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next story. More twists, more drama, more tales, coming up next.